disagree with him. But I'm going to ask for respect again. I'm going to ask that we all remain quiet and give respect. Give respect to our chairman, give respect to our speaker, give respect to all of us. I'm pleased to present to you because all of you already know him. A gentleman who has served in the U.S. Congress, a gentleman who has served in the military, a gentleman who is perhaps the most best known member in Congress at this particular moment. Agree, disagree with what he stands for. But I am honored to present to you the senior senator from the great state of Arizona, our own.
Including our beloved Vietnamese friends who are out there. Thank you. Yes, I'm very proud to serve with Jeff Flake, who is a worthy successor to a great Arizona Senator John Kyle. I'm very proud of Jeff Flake and all the great work that he's doing. Many of you may not know that Jeff Flake was voted the best-looking member of Congress. Did you know that? And I've often said, if I looked like Jeff Flake, I'd be President of the United States today. So thank you, Jeff, for all your good work. And thank you all, members of the delegation, Trent Franks and Matt Salmon, and Martha McSally, our new member, who brings a lot to the delegation, Paul Gosar and David Schleicher. I want to tell you, we work as a team, and we work hard for you. What I want to talk to you about today, in case you missed the front page of the New York Times this morning, you know what it says? War is exploding. Anew in Ukraine, rebels vow more, ceasefire vanishes, Putin is perceived as unbowed. My friends, we have a feckless foreign policy that has put the national security of this nation in jeopardy, and it's got to stop. And I am telling you now that this president is either in delusion or denial. The United States of America is in more danger than we have been in since the end of the Cold War, and maybe in some ways it is worse. When you look at
very unhappy people in the crowd.
When you look at Al-Qaeda, when you look at Iran, when you look at what's happening, my friends, in Yemen today, an outfit called Houthis have taken over. And it's them, and it's an outfit called Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. They're the ones that orchestrated the attacks in Paris. And my friends, remember, that is what the President of the United States, when he said that we were going to degrade and defeat ISIS, was an example of great success. Yemen. This president is either in denial or delusion, and it cannot stand. I also want to point out, my friends, Iran is a great danger today. They are in Iraq, they're in Lebanon, they're in Syria, and they're in Yemen. Why should we care? The leader of ISIS is a guy named Baghdadi. He was in our prison called Camp Bucca in Iraq for 4 years. The day he walked out, he said, "I'll see you in New York." The head of MI5, British intelligence, gave a speech last week, and he said, there is no doubt ISIS is planning attacks on the United States of America and Great Britain. If the director of MI5 says that, then you can believe it. And I am telling you now that they are planning attacks on the United States of America, and they are a direct threat, and this president has no clue, no strategy, no idea how to stop it. And we in Congress are going to have to, and beginning with requiring sanctions on Iran and congressional approval if there's any nuclear agreement between us. That has to happen. Some think that it's better to be an enemy of the United States of America than a friend. The way we are treating Iran and the way we are treating our friends in Iraq and others. We are sending these brave young Free Syrian Army young men who are being recruited into death to be barrel bombed by Bashar al-Assad. It is not only wrong, but it is immoral. My friends, I would be glad to explain to many of you exactly what these threats are.
You're a warmonger.
You are exactly right, my friend. Today is the 50th anniversary of the death of Winston Churchill, one of the great leaders of the 20th century. And the Wall Street Journal today has an excerpt from his speech that he gave in Fulton, Missouri, 1946. Let me quote it to you because it is applicable today as it was in 1946 when we faced the threat of communist Russia. He said, what we have to consider here today, while time remains, is the permanent prevention of war and the establishment of conditions of freedoms and democracy as rapidly as possible in all countries. Our difficulties and dangers will not be removed by closing our eyes to them. They will not be removed by mere waiting to see what happens, nor will they be removed by a policy of appeasement. We are now in a policy of appeasement which will bring on catastrophic consequences unless we turn it around. And I say to you, my friends, finally, I'm proud of the men and women who are serving in our military. They are our soldiers. They are our shield. They deserve better leadership. That's why we have to elect a Republican as president in the year 2016. They have had our back. They have had our back, my friends. And they have served and they have sacrificed. Let me just give you one brief story of myself. I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, campaigning for one of our candidates for the United States Senate. It was a veterans event. A young man came up and he said, Senator McCain, I was in the second battle of Fallujah. Those of you may recall, we lost 86 soldiers and Marines and 400 wounded in the second battle of Fallujah, which was take parts on 15,000 brave soldiers and Marines. He said, Senator McCain, the black flag of ISIS now flies over the city of Fallujah. I lost 3 of my buddies in the second battle of Fallujah. He said, tell me, Senator, what do I tell their mothers? This nation is in danger, my friends, and I will do everything in my power as chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee to put the brakes on this guy and restore America to the strength that is our heritage and our goal and our mission. Thank you very much.
Okay, before we go on to the next speaker, I want to make a comment or two about that. Let me tell you that one of the things I've found about politics is definitely full contact sport. It is something where we grab hold of an ideal and we fight for it. When I look at my 5 kids and I think about pro-life, I'm going to fight tooth and nail for the best possible outcome for the policy I care about. Okay? But I gotta tell you, when my kids do what you just did, I stand them up and I confound them for horrible behavior. You guys, last year, this body censored John McCain. And let me say something about that. What I heard from you is I heard that you were going to try to get his attention. You wanted to make us recognize so he would listen to you. And then when a man has the courage to come in front of a group that doesn't like him, guess why he's here? He wants to listen. He wants to listen to me.
Whoa!
Okay. This is where it becomes very interesting for me. Let me tell you what gets very interesting. Look, in 2010, I worked with J.D. Abrams on his campaign. And what happened is, when you look at it, people get to choose sides in the sense of a primary. We engage with our people that we believe are the best to serve for that office. And we fight, right? You dig in, you pound signs, you go out and you live.
Well, I guess that was the only part of the meeting they were interested in.
And so then when we get our elected representatives, we want to gain strength and capacity, no question. When we look at our body here,
I don't blame
we
them.
want to bring people in and do what we can. But when we behave like this, it just becomes absurd. We want to control the message in the media, right? I've heard that. We raise our hand, and they control us because of our behavior in the infighting. We heard candidates that have actually stepped up here today. They talked about unity. They talked about a common voice. They talked about strengthening the party. So at this particular juncture, I want you to know something. If we want to be strong, we have to recognize the humanity of the process. We have to recognize this is a representative republic. Regardless of the party badge you wear, we say that we're constitutional conservatives. Guess what? It's a representative republic. What does the first sentence of the preamble of the Constitution say? We the people of what? The United States. Okay? And so it's critical and it's important to watch. No, listen. I heard the yells, I heard the behavior, and I care about some of the people that were yelling. They're my friends. And what I would encourage you to do, just hang in there, make it happen. Okay? Let's make these meetings productive about something that's going to move the party forward. That being said, I want to introduce our next senator of our great state. Our next senator, obviously this is his first term in Senate. He's been a congressman, and I would like to introduce our Senator Jeff Flake.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate all that you do to elect Republicans statewide and nationwide. Let me tell you what a great experience it was to go back in November, right after the elections. Now, these new senators that you all elected around the country were not seated yet, but they had come in to meet with us. And we all gathered on a Tuesday in the LBJ room, where Republicans have been gathering for the last 2 years, ever since I've been in the Senate, for lunch. And guess what we found? There were too many Republicans to fit in the room. And so we had to move over to the Mansfield room for all of our meetings this term, because it would have been a fire code violation. And when you see that, you see what really happened on the state level, where every statewide office is now held by a Republican. Thank you all for doing that. Thank you for what you do. I won't take too much time, but let me just tell you another experience that happened just this week, just actually 2 days ago. On Thursday night, at about 8 o'clock, we were voting on Keystone amendments. We're trying to build the Keystone pipeline, by the way. Thank you for all of you there. We're going to put that on the president's desk with probably 63 signatures. I'm sorry, 63 votes. He'll likely veto it, and we'll put it back on his desk. And we'll keep putting it back on his desk until he signs it. That's what we do. But as we're voting on Thursday night, Mitch McConnell announced that as of 8 o'clock on Thursday night, on January the 21st, we had voted already this year on more amendments on the Senate floor than we voted on all last year. All last year. And I talked to one Democrat later, Democratic senator, who said, When I heard him say that, I stood up and started clapping. And then I realized, wait, that doesn't reflect very well on us, does it? But what you have and what you promised to get in the Senate this year is votes, to actually bring votes on the Senate floor, to make the Senate again the most deliberative body in the world. But let me just thank you again for all that you do for the Republican Party. This is the tough work that's done, and I commend you for doing it. I commend you for your hard work, getting out on a Saturday and many Saturdays, collecting petitions, making sure we have candidates for all these offices, and doing your best to get them elected. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it.
Okay, not all of our electeds could actually be. Not all of our electeds could be with us today, and one of them is our new Congresswoman, Martha McSally. Judy White is here to read a statement on her behalf. So, Judy White, Martha McSally.